I stand between you and Hines Ward. First of all, I'd like to thank Chris for doing what he did. Chris, if you know Chris Elliott, you know he's a remarkable young man, going places in coaching, but just so unbelievably detailed and takes care of everything. And that's the way the committee here works. I just noticed how much they take care of it. It's like, I know well, I won't go there. I'm bird walking. I'll stay focused. Oh boy, here I go. No, stop, Tom, stop. I just would really like to thank the committee because I really appreciate their hard work. Dave doesn't remember, but he was at Keith. He was in 9th grade, and I taught 7th and 8th grade. But he was in the accelerated group. And here I go again. Stop. But I just want to know he's using all his talents to really make things happen. And Neil does the same thing. They're very detailed oriented, and I just think the world of those guys. And to be here and see my father's picture and my brother Mike's picture, it's truly an unbelievably humbling event. I'd also like to thank the inductees. We were sitting outside the Scotch Valley Country Club, and you read about these people, but when you start talking to them, and you really get the feel for how good these people are. And so I know that how much, just that 5, 6, 7 minutes we spent together, Nick, Nadine, Renee, Joe, and Ron. I got a lot of tips. Ty got a lot of tips on pitching before we came out. I mean, I'm doing it all wrong. But Ron taught me how to do it right. Thank you, Ron, for visiting. He gave me all these tips. I can't believe I even wrote them down. I want to tell you what they are. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm okay. Stop. Focus. I want to talk my godson, who's also my nephew, Brian, said, just talk from what's in your gut. Talk about what's in your gut. Well, that's pretty dangerous, but that's what he told me. Parney, that's what he told me. He said, speak what's in your gut. And that's what I want to do tonight. Also, my mom always told me, Tom, I don't know if she was ashamed of me. No, whoa, where am I going with that? My mom always said, Tom, do what you think is right and let God take care of the rest. Angels are messengers. And I've received an awful lot of good information from messengers who are angels. Angels have appeared to me in all shapes and sizes. And I particularly like this one person's shape and size. And she was a real angel. And we met when we were 14 years old. And her name is Lenora. And yes, how about a hand for Lenora? Lenora, we met when we were 14, and she believed in me. When I got nervous, I always said, you want to fight? But I can't take all the time because I just recognize how important, her guidance and her priorities, and it's just been an unbelievable relationship. And I want to thank Lenora publicly because if there's any way I could be in the Hall of Fame, it's because of her. So I would like to thank her for that. I'd also like to thank my Lenora's family, her brothers, her sister, her parents. Leonard Fiore died last year, but those people have been treating me like a son and a brother, and I can't ever replace their generosity and what they've done for us. And Lenore put it especially poignantly. Yes, she said her brother and she are this far apart politically. I mean, if you ever think he's here and she's there, she said, but Richard, I love him dearly, and I would do anything in the world for him, and he would do anything in the world for me. And I thought to myself, what a great thing, because we're in the middle of a presidential election, and you know how hateful it can get. But if we can love each other and still disagree, I'm going to keep on going, all right? Keep on trucking. I'd like to thank I have 5 kids and 15 grandkids. and words just can't express. I mean, I'm sure those of you who are parents understand, you can't talk about the love of your kids. There are no words. But I want them to know how much the miracle of life has. It's just unbelievable to have children, the five children and the 15 grandchildren. And Lenore's mom always said, I used to pinch myself thinking, what in the world's happening here? You know? And I think that's probably the truth, is that it's just unbelievable how the love of a parent. I think Nick expressed it so well when he talked about his father and mom. He just, and I think, Renee, you did the same thing. I hope you just, I think I'm still under the time limit, but my brother and my two sisters, my mom and dad passed away, but we don't normally get together. But my sister flew up from Florida, Judy came from Washington, D.C., and Brother Mike came from near Pansion Park. And he was late. But I want you to tell a little bit about, first of all, Judy. And I hope you did. Judy is an accomplished pianist, and my dad used to love to hear her play. And he'd lean back in his chair and he would say, Judy, play Rustles of Spring. And he would sit back with a big, satisfied look on his face, sometimes with a beer. And if Judy would play, and my dad was in ecstasy. And then there's Brother Mike. No, then there's Mary Beth. Mike's always last. Mary Beth flew up from Florida. The inner light, we used to call her Sunshine when she was a small girl. And because her inner light wasn't inner, it was out there. And she got her doctorate degree, and she's down in the Pinellas County schools in Florida studying, doing all kind of great things. And I really appreciate the fact that she would spend she's only here for one day, but she came for tonight. So, Mary Beth, thank you so much for coming. Okay. And then there's Brother Mike. And Brother Mike and I have had a really good relationship. I know you know Mike from Penn State football, and if you don't know, I'm sure he'll be glad to spend some time afterwards talking to you. So feel free to walk up, because he likes to hold court. But I thought about the reasons, not the reasons why I love him, I just love him. But Mike is a people person. He genuinely loves people. He loves to be around people. They energize him, and he energizes them. And I saw that when the death of my mom and dad, how Mike just handled all those details that were unbelievable. And Mike is he's not all Penn State. He wasn't really that good. No, I didn't mean that, Mike. See, we are very sarcastic. And whoa, that's probably what Elliot heard. But I wanted Mike to know that he just, I do love him. And I do think he's a really, really, really good guy. I've never heard him say anything bad about anybody. He does like to talk about Penn State football, though. And the next thing I'd like to do, and I'm coming to a close here. First of all, I'd like to thank Marty and Johnny Franco for the nice words. And Marty and John are very close friends of mine and outstanding coaches, and I'd like to thank them. But all the players and coaches that we've ever had at Hollidaysburg and at BG, we're just, I'm standing here today, but because of those, I've always been blessed with coaches who really knew what they were doing, like Ron, who really knew what they were doing, and players who could really play. And all I would say, let's go, guys, we're going to get them. And then they went out and did it. But I'd like to close now by saying that there are two people that I would really like to talk about briefly. One was a player and one was a coach. The first one was Joey Durbin. Joey Durbin was in 9th grade at Bishop Guilfoyle, and outstanding athlete, but was inflicted with cancer. They stayed with the team for 4 years, and through that time, I remember we went over to Bishop McCourt, and Bishop McCourt Stadium was reverberated with sound, but McCourt was coming out. They were really fired up, and I saw Joey come up to me. His hair had fallen out from the cancer, and he was like underweight, and he said to me, "Coach, are we ready?" And I thought, here's a kid dying, and he's asking me if we're ready to play a game. And I thought, and at the Mass at St. Mary's, it was packed full of people. And he had planned his own funeral. And at the offertory, when they played this Let It Be by the Beatles, it was almost like he had accepted things and he was at peace. But unbelievable courage and inspiration. If you go look at his tombstone, it says, a boy who inspired everyone. And so I'd like a tribute to him, is that Joey Durbin will be the ultimate angel for me. And then the second person I'd like to talk about, that we've been together for 30 years, a man who I've known at Hollidaysburg as a teacher and a coach, and for 16 years we've been teaching and coaching together, and we've known each other for 30 plus. John got multiple myeloma, but still continued to coach, and I think John Hartsock says he gave and gave and gave until he had nothing left to give. But if it weren't for people like Marty and Johnny Franco, and I think we all share how much John McDonald meant to us. And I would like very much to say, I know you honor me tonight in the Hall of Fame, but John McDonald deserves to be here. So with that in mind, I'd like to say thank you to John McDonald. Thank you for all you did. And just don't ever forget how important he was to both schools. Enough said? Enough said.